Hello, YouTube. So in front of me is my stack of maintenance records for my 2000 XJR during my ownership of the car. And the moment of truth has arrived. What does it actually cost to run one of these British super saloons? And would I do it again? So the total cost over my almost 3 years of ownership, I didn't realize I actually purchased this car in January 15 of 2022 from a well-known online auctioning platform. And my purchase price was just a tick over $13,000. My total cost of ownership over almost 3 years, just a few months shy of that mark, I'll be there in January, is, well, you'll have to wait till the end of the video to hear that, or you can just skip ahead. But I think you're going to find the breakdown of costs interesting, especially if you're considering buying one of these cars. So in 22, I knew that was going to be an absolute banger of a year in cost, just because there were a number of things that I wanted to address to make this a reliable, daily driver-ish car of sorts that I could use without worry, that my wife could use, and I wouldn't have to worry about her like phoning me from the side of the road and saying, hey, can you come get me? And I took the car down to South Carolina and back. I just wanted to be able to use it for road trips, use it for daily driver-ish duties, and have it be reliable. So I did a number of things that I know are common failure items on these cars: fuel pumps, in-tank filters for the pumps. I serviced the transmission fluid and filter. I did all the little coolant lines that sit underneath the supercharger that can crack and dump all your coolant out without warning, and before you know it, you've cooked the engine. Not very fun. And there was a number of other things that I'm positive I'm forgetting. I also lavished on a set of Michelin Pilot Sport PS4s for the car because I feel like its level of performance commanded that type of tire, and I generally just love Michelin Pilot Sports on my cars. Had the sunroof drains unclogged. The rear carpeting was starting to get damp under heavy rain. And I had the speaker for the chime that tells you when the turn signal's on replaced because it was no longer chiming. Total outlay in 22. Brace yourself. I know I am. $8,222. Again, I knew that was going to be a banger of a year, just getting all that stuff sorted out to make it into the reliable daily that I wanted it to be. 23, I had an O2 sensor that was causing some weird drivability issues, an ignition coil that was triggering a reduced performance error on the car. You don't replace all the ignition coils on these unless you're really feeling flush, and it's not necessary. Also did replace front shocks with Bilsteins. Quite happy with that. While I was there, had the upper shock mounts and sway bar bushings done, and I also did front and rear brakes. Now, when you consider that front brakes alone on a lot of new cars are like $1,500 these days, my total outlay for all of these items in 23 was a downright reasonable $2,693. And that averaged out to $224.48 a month. I mean, that's really, really good. 24 wasn't really all that bad either. The total outlay in 24, $3,882.84 to date. I don't anticipate anything else being needed right now. The biggest component of that number was a leaking steering rack. That was like $2,100. I did all 8 spark plugs. I had the supercharger oil drained and refilled because it's not lifetime oil and just shy of 100,000 miles. Probably should do it. Throttle body was R&R'd. The vacuum lines were getting brittle and were also triggering a reduced performance error message. That was done. And these cars are really sensitive to low voltage. And I just felt like it was time to replace the battery to kind of get in front of some of those would-be low voltage issues that you see on these cars. So the average monthly ownership cost was $323.57 in 2024. And I feel like, for being able to run a 25-year-old British super saloon with 370 horsepower, that's pretty reasonable when you consider what the average lease of a new car is right now. What is it, $500-600? I have no idea. I've never leased a car. But the figure you've all been waiting for, my grand total over just about 3 years of ownership with the XJR is $14,797.84. Those are my records. Would I do it again? In a heartbeat. I just, there's a lot of things that you can spend that money on, but I feel like, including the purchase price of the car, I'm still in this car for less than $30,000, and I can't think of too many other cars that I'd want to own and drive over 3 years for that cost, including the E39. I mean, as much as I love that car, I feel like this offers a better blend of performance and luxury than the E39 did. And there's people that are probably going to crucify me for saying that, but that's my opinion. I'm sticking to it. Hope you enjoyed this. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? I'll see you for the next one.